Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith, and welcome to my review of the new film, The Protege. This is a film starring Maggie Q, Batman himself, Michael Keaton, and a guy who could basically turn any four-letter word into poetry. Yes, I am talking about Samuel L. Jackson. Now, in this movie, Maggie Q plays Anna. Now, Anna seems to live a pretty simple life. I mean, she runs a bookstore. She's got some people in her life that she's close with. And oh yeah, by the way, she's an assassin. But do we blame her or do we blame Moody, who's played by Sam Jackson, who basically trained her from the time that she was a little girl? Now, they've got this very interesting father-daughter dynamic that works for them, and they've got this wonderful relationship. Now, everything's turned sideways when Moody is brutally murdered. Not really a spoiler, it's in the trailer. Well, now Anna's out for revenge, and the last thing you want to do is get on Anna's bad side. Now, I am no stranger to Maggie Q. I mean, I'm familiar with her and a lot of the work that she's done. Of course, recently with Designated Survivor, the show with Kiefer Sutherland. But if we go back a ways, we can look at her, and she was in one of the Die Hard films. She was in one of the Mission Impossible films. All of that led to her getting her own series in Nikita. And if you don't know Maggie Q, let me give you a little 411. She is not only a phenomenally enjoyable actress, but she's also ridiculous when it comes to action scenes. Quite frankly, I wasn't overly surprised when I found out that she did most of her own stunts in this film. Now, The Protege is one of those movies that just works because, for me, there's just so much action and so much excitement, and the fight scenes are extremely well choreographed, and you just don't know when the next action is coming from, but you don't have to wait long before it's here. Now, Michael Keaton is fantastic in this film, and it's great because he's at this point in his career where we don't tend to see him a ton, but when we do see him, it's usually in an entertaining project like this one. And Sam Jackson could be in every other movie, and I would be okay with it. Now, this movie, for me, was very reminiscent of a film that came out about a year ago called Ava with Jessica Chastain. There were a lot of undertones and similarities between the two films. And as much as it pains me to say this, but it could be a little bit of recency bias, but this one might be just a little bit better. I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is this would be a perfect double bill. These two movies complement each other extremely well. And this is the type of movie that I'm saying this is a reason to go to the theater. A lot of times we've seen movies that have come out during these pandemic times that we're just content to see at home. That's fine. But this is one of those movies where I feel like if you went to see it in the theater, it just adds so much more to it. This is just one of those films that I want to see with an audience. I really enjoyed this film, and I think you will too. It again solidifies the fact that Maggie Q is just so good at what she does. We have to give a nod to the director of this film, Martin Campbell. If the name sounds familiar, it should. He directed Casino Royale, of course, the reboot in the James Bond franchise several years ago. I really like this movie. I think The Protege works on a lot of different levels. I think it's got some fun humor in it. There is a scene towards the later part of the movie, which I feel will divide audiences. Some people might look at it and say, okay, this is really cheesy. Some people might look at it and say, you know what, let's just go with it. I went with the latter. I had enough built up and enough respect for this film by the time it came along. I'm like, you know what, I'm having a good time. Let's just roll with this and see how it goes. Maggie Q, Michael Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson, what a trifecta of awesomeness they deliver in this movie. I give this movie a B+. If you have the chance to see The Protege, let me know what you think. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WheatyWhittier, and WheatyWhittier.com. Thank you so much for checking this out. My name is Keith, and I'll see you at the movies.